What's going on, guys? So we have Mr. Neo, who's been having issues acquiring satellites, and I've heard people talk about flying this guy indoors and having issues because it's not locking satellites or it just doesn't do well with downward positioning sensors, blah, blah, blah. So let's go ahead and put this thing quickly in the air and see what actually happens. So I just flew it in the house a little bit, kind of messing around. I hit the ceiling and drop, but it flies another day. So let's go ahead and power it on and just see what happens. So I know it's possible. I don't know if it's the best drone, camera quality wise, to actually get, for example, real estate footage. Ideally it was 4K 60, so DJI, please come out with a firmware update to support 4K 60. That would be really helpful for a lot of us. But we'll go ahead, power this on, just in my own home, so nothing super fancy, but at the same time, we could at least see Simon is sitting on some papers with some catnip, and I don't know, I think he's gonna take off once this thing starts. So we'll go ahead and start a screen recording, which is part of the deal. We're gonna go into the Fly app. Everything's updated, unlocked new geofencing. So yeah, that's all good. So we're gonna go fly. I don't know why this thing seems like it's on low brightness. Hold on a second. There we go. So no filters are on this because it doesn't do super well in low light. I have all the lights on in this area of the house that I'm flying. So that's kind of a rule for real estate. You normally turn on all the lights, maybe turn off the fans, depending on what your clients want. But this isn't necessarily real estate type video. It's just about whether or not this thing can actually fly safely. I think it's good practice to know how to fly any drone in ADI mode. A really nice drone to learn how to fly is maybe a Phantom 4 Pro, because you actually throw it and toggle it into ADI mode. But at the same time, maybe a simulator will give you an idea of how to reel in a drone and control it if it's not locked into GPS. So with that being said, I'm gonna make sure we're recording. We are. And my satellites are at 8, 9.
Home point updated.
It updated the home point. So that's basically as good as I care about right now. But even if it wasn't green or in white, I'm sorry, and it's still low satellites, I'm still going to take off and see what happens. So let's go ahead and fly this thing. Boom. Basically,
take off.
Here, let me stop the props. I'm going to always take off knowing that the drone may behave in a way that I don't want it to. So I guess that's a little future-proof kind of thinking. Don't just expect it to go and hover perfectly, because it may not. It may start veering off to one side or going towards a wall. So be ready to fly the thing immediately as if it is in ADI mode. So let's go ahead and take off and see what happens. So boom, props started.
Home point updated.
So let's lower it a little.
Landing.
So I'm kind of testing it out right now. Boom. Yawing, no big deal. And we'll kind of see what happens. Oop. Simon. There he is. So Simon is safe and sound. So we're going to make sure it's in Pro mode. We're going to make sure also that the white balance is set manually. It's pretty loud, actually. So let's go ahead and turn this camera around. And there's little Neo. So you see? Oh, now it's, that was weird. It just started raising altitude. There we go. So it definitely wants to do things that you don't necessarily plan for, but let's go ahead and put it in normal mode, or maybe even cine mode, and I'll start recording. I'm shooting 4K, 30 frames per second, so I want to be at 1/50th of a second. So I'm going to go ahead, start recording, and just kind of cruise. Dirty table, I know, or unorganized. Okay. So say we want to try to get one shot of the room. Let's go ahead, kind of compose it. I'll lower a little bit. And so far the drone's performing fine. Whether or not image quality is where we want it to be, but that would be a usable shot, a little clip like that. Maybe right there. Maybe a little orbit. So I have 9 satellites only, and it's still flying relatively well despite papers flying all over the table. So if you have anything that can get blown around like papers or an ashtray or something, like I just had some Palo Santo that just got ashes blown all over the table and chair because this thing produces so much little downforce or downdraft. So boom. So it's pretty loud. Let me go ahead and get the thing out of here. There we go. So it's flying pretty well, despite having only 10 satellites. Again, you want to always be careful and watching the drone because at any given moment, it can start acting maybe erratically. But we'll go ahead and fly it back this way towards the camera. Or towards me. Hello. Oh. It probably would blow over my pocket. 3. Let's see. So another thing too, let's see, turn the camera around. So right now, I can't fly low to this table or the counter. So you see this? Watch what happens. I'll fly slow. And then it's going to want to raise up because of the downward positioning sensors. So let's see one other thing. Make sure we're still screen recording. We are. I'm going to go into safety and go down. Whoop. And maybe it doesn't allow us to do that. Sometimes it will allow us to turn off advanced safety settings. Whoop, cancel. So apparently it doesn't allow us to do that. Control. Okay, so we'll try one more time. Nope.
Landing.
Okay, that's really loud. So one other thing we can do is try to tape these sensors. So you want to see what happens? I don't know. I haven't done that. Not on this drone, at least. So let's go ahead and tape these sensors and see if that's a workaround. Again, with any of these kind of little moves, you always have to be careful to how this thing's going to behave. Just got some painting tape. But again, it's $200. Not that big of a deal if something were to happen, but it won't. Apparently, well, it may, I don't know. So let's see. So, okay, we got the tape on the bottom downward sensors. That's it. Let's go ahead and take off.
Take off. Visual positioning failure unable to return automatically.
Wow,
Pay
okay.
attention to flight safety.
So that didn't seem like it was going to
Landing.
go well. I grabbed it basically and plucked it out of the air. So let's try one more time.
Takeoff. Home point updated.
Okay.
Landing.
So apparently it does not like having anything blocking these sensors. I don't know why, but let's try one more time. Getting a little nervous now. I'm going to put in a sport mode for kicks.
Takeoff. Attitude mode. Visual positioning failure unable to return automatically. Pay attention to flight safety.
So it doesn't like that at all. I'm not going to even mess around anymore with that because I feel like this thing's just going to zap right into the ceiling, which I don't need or want. So let's go ahead and take that off. We got the normal drone, and let's try one more time. I don't expect it to fly
Take off.
close to the counter, but at least we'll see if it flies all right. Okay, so it's a happy Neo now again. Was not happy with anything blocking
Landing. Landing.
the sensors.
Landing.
But as you see, it can handle being inside for the most part. Let's go over here a little bit. So I'll put it okay. We'll try to get a shot going in. But the premise of this video was really just to test whether or not it can fly indoors without any major hiccups. And it can, but do not tape the downward positioning sensors because that doesn't seem to make Mr. Neo happy. But if you want to just get some shots, here, let's do one other, let's try to do something. Boom. I could put the fireplace on, add a little ambiance. There, I'll do a little teeny small move. 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, 4 1000. Like, that's not a bad little shot. And what else? Maybe here, let me try to get one of the kitchen with me in it. Yeah. I'm just going to physically watch the drone. Okay, but here, let me land the little Neo. But you could see Mr. Neo did not like anything blocking its sensors, so a big warning about that. And it does seem to fly in the house despite being in red with barely any satellites with really no issue. But you always have to play it safe and make sure you're ready to fly this thing or land it safely or counter maybe it going towards a wall. So anywho, quick little video on this, and let me know if you guys have any experiences with your Neo flying indoors and what you would want on a wish list for a firmware update. Hopefully they do provide one soon that gives us 4K 60, maybe a little better low light ability. And with that being said, see you guys. Bye.